How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and yes, you are seeing this headline on the screen before you. Trump has awkward water bottle moment on TV. Yes, this is news. Yes, this is the mainstream media. This is actually on NBC. Now, to back up a moment, I just want to tell you why even talking about water bottles. Trump had his Asia trip. Remember the infamous meeting with Xi Jinping where he told him or asked him, could he look out for the UCLA basketball players, even though he's a big giant racist. When he came back from that trip, he gave an update on what happened, a speech to the American people. And you could tell he had been on the plane for a very long time, 11 hours or more, and needed something to drink during his speech. The media just went totally crazy. They tried to compare it to Rubio, all kind of things. All of the other headlines from other places have been crazy as well. Trump pauses during remarks for sip of water. That was the actual headline. This is CBS. Here, CNN, Donald Trump's dry-mouthed victory lap. And you see them compare him to Rubio, which is not even really what happened. We'll get to the video in a moment. Rubio criticizes Trump mid-speech water-sipping form. And ABC, Trump roasted by a late-night host after he stops mid-speech to search for water. I mean, this is really ridiculous. So what we're going to do, we're going to just go ahead and get straight to this video here. You see the article, you see the copy right here. President Donald Trump was very thirsty for more positive news coverage of his lengthy Asia trip and for some water. So you have a real person. This is a real journalist, a real columnist, or whatever they want to call themselves, calling Donald Trump thirsty, as in thirsty for attention, like using thirsty in a slang way. This is really ridiculous, but I'm not surprised at all. Now, this video here comes from the 11th hour with Brian Williams. Remember him, Lion Brian? So this is going to be interesting. Let's check it out right quick and see what Brian's talking about. Let's see if he can get it loaded up.
I am pleased that since January of this year, Japanese companies have announced investments in the United States worth more than $8 billion, 17,000 jobs. Thank you.
Looking for the water.
Oh. They don't have water. That's okay.
And somebody tells them that the water is right there.
That's how it went today. The last thing before we go tonight, what some instantly branded Watergate. If you have flown to and from Asia, then
Lion
you
Brian,
know those routes
welcome
are
back.
some of the longest in all of commercial aviation, and jet lag can be crippling when coming off an Asia trip because everything is upside down. Day is night, night and day. You feel like having dinner and going to bed right when you're supposed to be getting up and going to work. So it was clear the president was running out of saliva as he trucked through his own Boffo review of his Asia trip today. We all get dry, and while hardly the most important thing that happened today, this was news because you just don't see this kind of thing that often. First, he disappeared from view, looking in the lectern for water, which...
Okay, now I was going to give Brian a little bit of credit here because he was trying to explain why Trump was thirsty, the whole thing about the jet lag and all of that. But then he goes on to say some things that don't make any sense. But let's keep going.
At first he couldn't find. Here's how water incidents 1 and 2 played out.
Water incidents 1 and 2.
No, it's okay. Oh. Japanese manufacturers, Toyota and Mazda. In China, we also announced $250 billion worth in trade investment deals that will create jobs in the United States.
So 2 sips of water.
Perhaps it was notable.
2 sips of water. This is what we're talking about in the news. This is everywhere. Like I just showed you, NBC, ABC, CNN, CBS. I mean, everywhere. Him drinking water is everywhere.
Because you don't see adults drinking water with 2 hands.
Really?
Perhaps
really,
because
Brian?
It reminded us of the granddaddy of all water lunges on live television, which, of course, Trump mercilessly mocked during the campaign. Look, having water available for the president is something the White House has really had down to a science.
The thing about Rubio is that he was in the middle of a speech and tried to, like, dart away and still maintain eye contact. It was weird. It was really weird. It was just strange. And then the thing about it, it was like not really a long thing. It wasn't after a big trip. Rubio's a young man. Trump is 71 years old. I mean, at the end of the day, Rubio's situation was just strange. And in general, Rubio is a choke artist. Okay, I think that's what that was. I think that was about nerves. Matter of fact, I see this great meme from Paul Joseph Watson, and you'll be able to see it. Hold on, I'm gonna take my camera off right quick, and you see what it says: the virgin sip versus the Chad quench. Under Rubio, it says nervous, desperate, tries to quickly sip, keeps eye contact like a creep, cheap, tiny bottle. And then Trump, calm, cool, collected, needs to quench his thirst. Everything else must stop. World waits on his every action. Expensive, big boy bottle. Hands are strong. That is funny, but it's kind of real because Rubio just looked nervous and was trying to he was trying to hide from the camera, even though the camera was like squared on him. He was giving a statement, looking right into the camera. It was just him and nobody else. It wasn't like he was at some kind of event or something like that where the camera could have gone elsewhere. He was the only person that was right there. He was the only person that the camera could have been on. So it was just weird at the end of the day. But let's see what Brian Williams says to close out his little video here.
For decades, the stewards normally pour it into a glass and protect it from dust and germs with a little kind of presidential doily on top of the glass, and it's worked that way just perfectly for years. It also avoids any sort of endorsement of a brand name water like the water they bottle in the Fiji Islands in the South Pacific. But as I say, it never gets boring around here. That is our...
So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Trump. So, of course, they're going to compare it to Rubio. Remember this very famous incident. This is the Rubio incident here. This was very famous. Now, look at the difference between what Rubio did.
Nothing has frustrated me more than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight.
See, it was just like he was trying to hide. He was like...
The choice isn't just between big government and big business. What we need is an accountable, efficient, and effective
that was crazy.
government that allows small and new businesses to create more middle-class jobs.
And the crazy part about that is that throughout the whole thing, he was struggling real bad. Rubio, that is. He was struggling on up until that point. He was really struggling, and then he just had to dart away from the camera, even though the camera was looking right at him. It's like he was trying to hide, but he couldn't hide. I think I even saw the camera follow him. So to compare it to Rubio doesn't make any sense. You know, of course, Trump mocked him during the election cycle because it was an awkward moment. It was an awkward situation. But what's even more awkward are these crazy headlines from the so-called mainstream media. This is why we don't pay these guys any mind, because look at this. I mean, you got him with the freeze frame with the two hands. You got people calling them thirsty and not using it in the correct way, using it in a slang way. I mean, just look at this stuff. Dry mouth victory lap. You know, I mean, this is crazy. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, I had to talk about this because this was really just a silly moment. This is why many of us have pretty much given up on the mainstream media. We've given up on CNN, MSNBC, Miss NBC, as I like to call it. We've given up on all these different news platforms. We know that it's going to be pretty much fake. Anytime they give their opinion, especially, we know it's going to be fake. Sometimes even when they report news, it's going to be fake. They don't tell you the full story. They tell you the story in a one-sided manner. They don't give you the full information that really needs to be told. So we're just like, you know what? Okay, we're finished. We're finished. We're not trying to hear this anymore. We're not trying to hear from people like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, all these fake late night talk show hosts, all these fake on-air personalities who are no different than the talk show hosts. We're done. So at the end of the day, shout out to Trump for the big boy sip. A shout out to everybody that's talking about this, that is really trying to so-called break a story about Trump needing some water during the speech after an 11-hour plus trip from Asia. At the end of the day, as I close, I'm done with this. I want you to tell me your thoughts about it. Do you think that this is newsworthy to highlight Trump taking a sip of water? No, pardon me, excuse me, 2 sips of water during the speech. Was that necessary to do? Are the comparisons between him and Rubio valid or invalid? Because like I said, Rubio, you see the meme behind me. Rubio, you know, maintaining eye contact with the camera, trying to hide. Trump was just like taking a little break. And, you know, like the thing about Rubio is that he was like almost about to just fall over, stopping almost like mid-sentence. Trump finished his sentence and then grabs the water. But I'm done. You tell me your thoughts, your comments, your additions or subtractions, whatever you feel about this particular story and or the mainstream media in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
It's Rubio. That's what it is. Unbelievable.